Hit subscribe to the DIY Writer to support your hardworking authors and also lessen your chances of ending up as a victim in their next book. The world's largest UFO conference, Contact in the Desert, announces the launch of their 8th annual and very first virtual event. This event is focusing on UFOs and the year of science, also consciousness and the future. This will be held June 24th to 28th, 2021. Contact in the Desert is renowned for its top lineup of experts in the fields of ufology, forbidden archaeology, government disclosure, alien phenomenon, crop circles, and much more. Contact in the Desert already is the largest UFO conference in history and will now be the largest UFO conference in the virtual world, with over 60 lectures, 40 workshops, 11 panels, featured speakers presentations, virtual tours to Giant Rock, and other interactive events. Go to contactinthedesert.com for more information and get your tickets now. So you can behave or misbehave, don't care.
I aim to misbehave.
There you go. All right.
God, $20 if you get that reference.
You know what? I don't. I'm so old, I don't.
Oh, no. That's almost a decade old.
Oh, really? Well, I'm much older than a decade, so.
Well, yeah, but like my point is you should have you had plenty of time to happen across that reference.
Oh, you're assuming I have plenty of time to do shit. That's podcasts and writing and IT work and everything else I do.
That's fair. It's Firefly, man. It's a classic.
Oh shit! Yes, it is. Damn you! I just lost 20. Oh. Anyway, hey, for anybody who happens to be listening, I'm probably going to leave that into the recording anyway because it's entertaining. But this is Jeff at the DIY Writer Podcast, and we're going to go ahead and start with Zach. Zach, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm alive.
Somebody's probably going to be listening to this, going, "What in the hell is he on?" Well, it's just whatever. But hey, we're recording, we're having fun, whatever.
Indeedly do.
Firefly, God, I don't know why. And what's funny was I watched it when it was on TV, and then I rewatched it probably, just a year ago, just because it's like I haven't seen it in so long, and you kind of forget the references. But I mean, what?
Oh, see, that's one of those things that my mind hangs on to really well. If I like something, if something entertains me, I hold on to it with a vice grip. And like useful information, like how to do math and interesting history, falls out my ears.
No, I should have. I absolutely should have caught that. But yeah, anyway, so much for the old jokes. But anyway. Before we get into more movie references, let's talk about your book.
All right.
Okay, what do you got there?
Well, this is water.
Oh.
I wish it was something stronger, but yeah, this was actually a kombucha jug. I don't know if you know what kombucha is.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they sell these big jugs. It's my local Safeway, and I was like, that would make a perfect water jug because it looks like I have booze in there, but it's just life juice.
That's a hell of a big jug of kombucha.
Oh yeah, dude, I love it, and it's because the main reason I buy these jugs instead of little things is because this is such a better deal. It's like cost wise, this is like 3 or 4 times more cost efficient than the little personal size ones.
Yeah,
it just makes
there's
no sense in buying the little one.
I've only seen the little ones. Yeah,
my book.
Your book, yeah. Hey, you wrote a book.
My story, my whole thing for being here. My book is The Garden of Lies. Hang on, let me turn my light off so you can see this without a glare.
There you
Garden of Lies. And now it's dark and it's nighttime, so that's actually thematically fitting. Yeah, The Garden of Lies, Zachary A. Pieper. It is an epic fantasy, shifter, shaman, rebel, felling empires, all the good things that we like to read about. Plus there's a kind of a love interest in there that's central to the plot in many ways. So it's got something for everyone. Plus there's lots of drunken partying and humor. So literally there's something, if you like reading, there's something in here for you. Go buy it.
If you like reading, read this. All right.
Exactly.
Got it. It's a hell of a
tagline. Believe that. What was that?
So that's a hell of a tagline. Hey, if you like reading, freaking read this.
Yeah.
Do you need to stretch? Do you need to stretch some more?
Dude, I have a knot. So I game a lot, and I was on a League of Legends binge for like 2 weeks about a month ago, and during that time I developed this knot right up here in my mid back on my right side, and I still haven't been able to pull it back out, and it's unpleasant.
Oh,
I have pre-scoliosis, and that's the direction my spine curves in that it's not supposed to,
yep.
and so it's my problem side.
Uh, so you're just pre?
Yeah, it's not. When I got the diagnosis, I was getting x-rays, and the guy was like, so this is what we call pre-scoliosis, because it's not advanced enough to actually diagnose you, but it's definitely an abnormal curve. And I was like, well, it still fucking hurts.
Yeah.
So can we do something about it? He's like, not really.
Not really. You're just gonna have to live with it. Yep.
Yep.
My father-in-law had scoliosis, and they put 2 metal rods right up his back.
Ooh, yeah,
to straighten him out.
So I'm a personal trainer, and I've got a client like that. I think he's got more than 2. I think he has like 3 or 4 rods in his back, and nice enough kid, but he's hard to train because he's got other stuff going on skeletally as well. So he's a challenge, but
Yeah.
I'm working on it. We're making progress. Ever so slowly.
You can accomplish anything if you put your mind to it.
Yes.
You can. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of shit wrong with them that do some amazing things.
Oh yeah. See, I say yes because I just feel like that's one of those like truisms that's like, it's trite but true, but it really needs an asterisk under it. You know what I mean? It's like, disclaimer, it's really fucking hard.
Yeah, well, that's true. You know, as funny as I used to coach wrestling, and there's this kid who he had autism, and he also had a few other things, I want to say wrong with him, but just he had a few other things that he had to deal with. But the funniest thing was when he got on the wrestling mat, he would, wherever direction he went 110%. So if somebody was going to throw him over, he would actually push himself over along with them as hard as he could and roll out of things. Or, I mean, he would flop around, and he would do some of the most, just acrobatic things, which was just, no one ever like, my God, where the hell did he come up with that?
Right.
It was just him. His mind was, if I'm going this way, I'm going to go really hard this way. And, kids would stand up after the first period and go, the hell, I couldn't hold on to him, because he would just be all over the place, flopping around like a fish. He didn't win a lot, but he never went down without swinging. And it was really fun to watch him.
It sounds like it.
Geez, there's this guy who was I think he placed in state the year before, and he was just going to go out there and quick pin him. He went all 3 periods with him and just about got stuck. And he's like, the hell do I? He went to his coach. He literally said, what the hell do I do? Wrestle him. It was the funniest thing. The other guy's just like, okay, let's go. It was awesome. His name was Joey. He was pretty amazing. But anyway, back to your book.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a nice little segue there that I can make there. I actually have a character in here who, so in my universe, they don't know what autism is. But I actually have a character in here who, I'm not sure if I would say he's autistic, but he's certainly like something. I don't know if it would be, I don't know if he was in the real world, I don't know if he would be diagnosed with that or Asperger's or something else, but he's definitely in that vein. Okay. There struggles with social cues, and he's actually got a much bigger role in the sequel. He's kind of subdued in this one in terms of his time on page, but he plays a big role in the sequel. Actually saves the main character's ass a few times in the sequel.
So now, you were talking earlier that you do have a sequel coming out sometime this year. It's in developmental editing right now.
Yep. Yeah. So the sequel is, as I announced yesterday on my channel, the sequel is The Garden of Hope.
The Garden of Hope. Okay.
The Garden of Hope. It's the Garden Saga. And so the sequel is The Garden of Hope, and it's going to be a little bit. So this is 149K. Again, The Garden of Lies, available Barnes, Nobles, Amazon. Check it out. But that is 149K, pretty much as give or take, you know, as it sits right here. And
Yeah.
if you follow my channel religiously, you know that this actually isn't the final edit because I had 10 copies printed that were the wrong edit because I'm incompetent clerically.
Well, that crap happens.
It does. I actually had another. I have another author who follows my channel, and I actually reviewed his work, Mike Lackman, and he writes young adult sci-fi, which his young adult sci-fi is pretty good, by the way. If you want to go check him out, Black Coats. It's like sci-fi spy fiction. It's pretty good. But anyways, back to my shit.
Back to your shit.
So in the sequel is going to be a bit shorter and it's going to be much faster paced. I had a few people comment that my pacing felt a little bit slow to them or they like more action. Well, if that's how you feel, but you still like my story, definitely pick up the sequel because it's thrill ride after thrill ride. The roller coaster doesn't stop in book 2.
Cool beans. Just out of curiosity, do you mind plugging your YouTube channel real quick since you keep on mentioning it?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. So my YouTube channel is just a shortening of my name, Zach Pieper, Z-A-C-K, and you can find it by just going youtube.com/Zach the Dulge, which by the way, Zach the Dulge will find me on any social media that I'm on. It's never taken, so I always get it, which is nice. So any social media you want to look for me and see if I'm there, Zach the Dulge, D-A-L-J, all one word. And on my YouTube channel, I do a bit of everything book related. I do author interviews. I do reviews. More reviews are coming because people really seem to like my reviews. I do writing advice. I do a fair bit of that, and just book talk in general.
Okay. What kind of writing advice do you give?
Oh, God, all of it. So
all of it. Okay.
All of it. I have an entire video series. I have a 5 video deep series on world building because that's one of my personal strengths and one of my favorite parts about writing. World building is absolutely amazing. I love doing it. And there's so much nuance to it that you can get into. And a lot of people tend to cut corners or take shortcuts, especially with things like consistency, thematically, and logically. I always come back to this example because I just have to pick on it because I'm about to go on a rant, so strap in.
All right, I'm strapped in, dude.
You go on my channel, you look up a video, Elphistra the Sorceress, a case study in what not to do. Okay.
Uh-oh.
This book is 0 out of 10. It is the single worst thing I have ever read. Okay. And the world building is so bad and so inconsistent and so nonsensical that you have no idea what the rules of this world are in terms of the physics. Okay. So we go from Earth, we go through this interdimensional portal that randomly opens up, and we only ever get a half-assed explanation about why it opened up. Mystical magic, timey-wimey things, which is never a satisfying answer, but okay. So we go to this other planet, Lanakia. The dimension is called Lanakia. The planet is never named, so I assume the planet is also called Lanakia. So we're on this Lanakian planet, and it is described, this is literally how it's described in the book, almost verbatim, because I have a good memory for these things, and this drove me nuts. If Earth,
okay, sorry.
if Earth were to be put on a map, if comparatively scale-wise, it's something like this in the book. I'm slightly paraphrasing, but if you made a map of Lanakia and put Earth to scale as a dot on the surface of Lanakia, it would appear as a small dot. Okay? So that means that this planet is many thousands of times the size of Earth. Okay?
Okay.
That's a super massive planet. That planet has gravity the likes of which we can't comprehend. Okay. And humans go here and they're alive. And if you know anything about physics, that immediately is a red flag for you, because on a planet that's that massive, unless literally the entire thing is hollow, which is virtually impossible with physics as we understand it, humans would be nothing but red paste on the surface of that planet. The gravity,
Possibly.
many thousands. Oh, there's no doubt, dude.
Possibly.
There's no doubt. Many thousands of times. So, and here's the thing.
That's
Here's
if you
why it
believe
drives
in
me so
gravity.
nuts.
I mean, you know.
If we do, I'm gonna slap you. Here's why it drives me so nuts. So you might be
you're going to
saying,
be fun. I can't wait to get into this.
so you might say, well, it's sci-fi or it's fantasy, and it really reads like fantasy when he tries to make it sound like sci-fi, which is a whole separate thing I could rant forever about. But he tries to pass this off as science fiction, and he makes it clear that, and he specifically says in no uncertain terms, the physics here in this dimension are roughly comparable to the physics in our dimension. So I'm sorry, humans would be red paste on the surface of your planet in Lanakia, and the fact that you have them casually walking around with no greater difficulty is bullshit. And I don't respect it, especially because you worked really hard to pass this off as sci-fi. Your book is trash. Your world building is trash. And there's many other things about your world building that are trash. And I'll say it every time the book comes up. And anytime I talk about world building, because I had to read through this thing to review it on my channel, and I hated it. Oh my God. I heavily skimmed the last 20,000 or so words because I just couldn't. It was like slamming my wall. It was like slamming my head into a wall of spikes.
Why'd you have to review it? He pay you for it or something, or?
He didn't pay. No, he did not pay me for a review, but I was.
Well, thank God.
I was. So he was sent my way by his publicist. His publicist got a hold of me and said, hey, I've seen some of your reviews on Goodreads. You write really good, in-depth, thoughtful reviews. Can I send some of my clients your way and you'll get a free copy of their book and, you know, you review them? I'm like, yeah, sure. That's content for my channel and free literature. Right. Yeah. And that publicist, by the way, has sent me some good books. Several of his clients are interviewed on my channel. Patricia Simpson, Nikki Hicks, and Dustin. I always screw up his first name because I am bad with names. But Munden, he wrote Dusk Mountain Blues. Dusk Mountain Blues was a good book. Dustin
Munden, yep.
Yeah, Dustin. I like Dusk Mountain Blues. That's a good. Yeah, I like. I would make a good movie, by the way. So
yes, anyway, it would.
So, anyways, and yeah. I read this book and I'm like, this is a steaming pile of garbage. And so I sent the guy an email. I was like, look, man, we can, because I was supposed to interview him. And I said, look, man, we can do your interview, but I have some serious criticisms and critiques of your work. So there's going to be some real hardball questions if we do the interview. And he bowed out of the interview. But I wasted my time reading his pile of trash. And so I did the video review.
So can I ask you a question? Do you think you would have had more respect for him if he would have came up and interviewed you face to face afterwards?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially because I did him the courtesy of saying, look, man, here's how I feel about your work, but I'm still willing to do the interview and, you know, address you as a peer and a man to man with respect. But he bowed out. Yeah. And I find that to be exceedingly chicken shit. So and here's why I'm taking such a harsh tone. But for anyone watching, don't think I'm just an asshole to anyone or I'm just casually mean to people. This is personally and professionally offending to me, and here's why. I put my heart and soul into this. I put my blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this book. That is not an exaggeration or an idiom. It's true.
Yeah.
This is my world. It means everything to me for so many reasons. This is a very good book. I did everything I could to make it professional quality. This particular copy isn't because I had an unfinal edit put into book form, and unfortunately some arcs got sent out, including to Daniel Green and some other booktubers, and I feel exceedingly embarrassed about that because they now have a unfinished copy of the book, and that's just incredibly embarrassing.
Yeah, it's okay to feel stupid about it, but you know what? Everybody screws something up.
Exactly.
It just,
So
you're
I
not
try
going
to
to get
remind
perfection.
myself I'm merely human, and the blonde hair doesn't help. So my point is, I take immense professional pride in what I do. I'm very serious about my writing. And everything about this book, Elfeaster the Sorceress, from the world building to the writing to the editing to the character development to the plot development, it was all so haphazard and lazy. I could have done better in high school. And I promise that's not an exaggeration. I swear to God, I could have done better in high school. And if anyone wants to call my bluff on that, I will track down my English teacher and bring her on my channel. I happen to know a way of getting a hold of her, and I will do it if you call my bluff. I don't give a fuck, because I mean it. And like I said, it's a professional insult to me that guy is under the same label as me. Self-published author, indie author. No, he's a guy who puked on a page and put it out on the
Well,
market.
there's going to be an awful lot of people that piss you off then.
Oh, you're not kidding.
But that's, with the evolution of self-publishing, everybody's got an opportunity to put out whatever they want to put out.
That is the downside of this particular, of the technological boom. That's exactly right.
Okay, so why is it a downside?
Because I truly believe, first of all, I believe in professional ethics. You shouldn't bring a pile of trash to market. You should have a little bit of self-respect and the ability to look inwards and say, is this any good? And be honest with yourself. And if your book isn't good, don't bring it to market yet. You can always sit down and work on it more.
Now you're laying your own principles onto somebody else. What if there's somebody who's just starting off, they can't really afford a good editor, so they find some crappy somebody or other on Fiverr or Upwork or whatever, and they put out the best that they possibly can for at the time, and they just published a book. And it may not be up to par, and it may not be everything, but they may be starting a career where they actually surpass you at some point in time because they learn from mistakes.
Okay. That's fair. That's a fair point. And you're right. I am kind of holding people to the same standard I hold myself. And you can say that's unfair or not how the world works or whatever, but that's just how I feel. That's the way I view the world. And I think that I'm not saying be as good as me. Okay. And I'm not to sound like an arrogant prick, but that's kind of hard. I wrote a damn good book, but at least be decent. Okay. And here's what I mean. If you know English, you can read through this book and find 20 or so mistakes on the first page. It's not even up for debate. Literally, someone who just graduated high school with decent grades in English could do a better edit on this book than the editor gave it. And if you watch my video, I actually contacted the company that edited this and asked them for an explanation. I was like, dude.
Okay.
So it's tragic. I mean, really, it is. He didn't even try. And that's why I'm so mad about it. It would be one thing if I said, well, he put some effort into this. It's clear he tried, and this is just where he's at skill level wise. I'd be fine with that.
Well,
but
we're not going to focus on the fact that he was chicken shit either and didn't come on your show.
Yeah. And see, that's another thing. That's another thing too. If he'd come on and said, well, I really did try, and this is as good as I can do. Well, then I'd still be nice, because oh, so he just wanted to get his story out there, but he's actually not capable of telling it any better. And he had the iron of will and the self-realization to admit that to himself and the world, then I'd still respect that. What I don't respect is that he acts like his book. And I know because he's got 5-star reviews on Amazon and Goodreads, that I would literally bet my immortal soul that he paid for every single one. I promise you, he paid. Seriously, read the book. If you doubt me, go read it.
I don't have time to doubt you at this point. Sorry, I'm not going to play that game, but
Absolutely. And so, yeah, it's just, he acts like the book is good. He actually commented on my video about it, and he tried to call bullshit on some of my points. And it's like, dude,
is it his first book?
No.
Oh,
no. He wrote a he wrote a prequel to that book, which is like novella length.
Mhm.
And then there's, I think, 3 or 4 other books after this. And I will not be, I don't know about I don't know if the quality ever improved because I will not be reading any of them. But because he released literally all of them at the same time, I'm assuming he sat down and wrote all of these in roughly the same time span. And therefore, I'm willing to bet they're all probably roughly the same in quality.
Okay. Dude, I love that jug.
Dude, I love this jug. You watch my channel? This shows up on my channel a lot. This is my jungle juice jug. I love this thing. I've got a cork that I usually. Where's my cork?
So who's your inspiration? Now, I'm assuming if I say, who do you try and fashion your world building after? I'm looking for a particular name, but go ahead and who do you really like as far as world building goes? And
oh man,
you kind of look at it and go, I want to be like that when I grow up.
Not I want to be like that. More like I read it and I modeled my style of world building after it. So, are you familiar with Pierce Brown?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Christopher Paolini?
No.
Okay, Christopher Paolini wrote the Aragon books.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The Inheritance Cycle. So those two men are my biggest inspirations.
I was
for world
expecting to
building
say Sanderson.
Now, I believe I'm going to catch a lot of shit for this. I haven't read any of Sanderson's work.
You didn't have a year to dedicate to one of his books?
It's not that I won't read any of his work. I just haven't yet. I'll tell you someone I have read. The guy, I can't remember his name, but the guy who wrote The Legend of Dritz.
Oh yeah.
I've read the first 3. I got them as one book, but the first 3 Legend of Dritz books, I absolutely loved those. I want to go and finish that series at some point because that is a great story, and that has really good world building too. Absolutely fantastic.
So, have you reviewed the book called The Haunted Vagina? Because you're really not a book reviewer until you've done that one.
You're fucking with me.
Nope, I'm not.
Tell me about this, please. Tell me.
I bring this book up every now and then just because it is the god awfulest funny thing that I'll bring it up real quick. It is an actual book, and it does pretty well. And nothing can do it more justice than actually just reading the book blurb.
Okay, let's hear this.
All right, ready?
Yes.
I know after this you're going to run out and buy this thing. It's $4.99 for a Kindle. I think you'll enjoy this. It's difficult to love a woman whose vagina is a getaway to the world of the dead. Steve is madly in love with his eccentric girlfriend, Stacy. Unfortunately, their sex life has been suffering as of late because Steve is worried about the odd noises that have been coming from Stacy's pubic region. She says that her vagina is haunted. She doesn't think that it's a big deal, but Steve, on the other hand, completely disagrees. When a living corpse climbs out of her during an awkward night of sex, Stacy learns that her vagina is actually a doorway to another world. She persuades Steve to climb inside and explore this strange new place. But once inside, Steve finds it difficult to return, especially once he meets an oddly attractive woman named Fig, reminding you that this is inside his girlfriend's vagina, who lives within the lonely haunted world between Stacy's legs. A very strange and surprisingly touching love story, despite the deliberately asinine premise. Anyway, I'm not going to go on with it, but that is the premise of this book. It's got 753 reviews. It's a 4.1 out of 5 on Amazon. And I probably do more advertising for this damn book than anybody else, but I'm telling you what.
Oh my God.
Yep. Carlton Mellick the third. And honestly, I'm guessing he doesn't get a lot of dates, or maybe he does. I don't know. But anyway,
that is, I you know what, I'm willing to bet. I would almost bet this based on anything. I would have to read it to be sure. This is just a shot in the dark, but I'm willing to bet there's a huge satire element to this book. Just a shot in the dark.
Just a shot in the dark. Okay.
You get it? Because in the dark.
I get it. Whoa, zing. All right.
You know, puns. I make them.
That's punny.
It's so punny. Zach, you old cod.
Oh boy.
How first, so sir, just how dare you rape mine ears with the knowledge that this exists?
That's what I'm here for, is to rape and pillage people's minds and or thoughts and minds.
I need to cleanse my palate after that.
Right. Is that the other one with alcohol in it?
I wish. I polished off the last of my alcoholic beverages when I did my comedy review of my own book on my channel. I did it. I went in character and reviewed my own book. It's pretty funny. You should check it out. And yeah, I killed the last of my whiskey because he was British, so he was having whiskey with his intellectual discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Every now and then we do a drink and think on this show.
You know,
it's a lot of drinking and not a lot of thinking.
Well, you know, those two are kind of juxtaposed to each other.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
I've had some really great ideas while drunk that came true.
It's like, it's one of those things. It's like, well, yes, but actually no. You know what I mean?
I've had some really good ideas that when I've been, you know, mildly drunk. It's when you get too drunk to actually think, that's when you come up with the really stupid stuff.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
But do you drink while you write, or are you completely sober?
So not so much drinking, but other things.
Okay,
we'll just leave it there.
No, that's fine.
Other things. And so there's actually, let's see if I can remember. Push this in a little bit. Let's go to my chapter index and look at my chapter names here. I think. Oh, what's the nope. No. Not
that one either.
So chapter 17, Lovers Eternal. I think I was high for that.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been the only one on this book.
Okay.
Yeah. And so much like you said you come up with some good ideas drunk. I come up with some good ideals while I'm treating my body like a chemistry set.
Yeah.
And truly, I've gotten some profound philosophy that I continue to hold on to, and I keep mashing that philosophy against the unyielding wall that is life. And so far, most of it has held up. I do some deep thinking when I'm inebriated myself. And then same with ideas for my books. Actually, I've come up with some really good ideas for my books when I was just
I talked to do you know D.W. Hawkins? No. He's a really good writer. He does a really nice job world building, and he's kind of a dark fantasy type guy. You know, he is getting into sci-fi a little bit, but that's, you know, he smokes an awful lot. In fact, he's done it on this podcast a few times where he's just sitting there just you know, whatever, and he swears by it.
Oh yeah, I mean, THC is definitely one of those. So for years I didn't think I enjoyed it because I'd only ever tried to smoke it. And then my brother-in-law, my sister was a cancer patient, and she also deals with, much like her brother, many psycho issues, you know, mental issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so THC is one of the things that helps her not explode.
Sure.
And so he got really good at making THC edibles. And by the way, we're here in Washington, so we're safe. Right. But yeah, so he's really good at making THC edibles. And one day, a buddy of mine who's just one of the biggest stoners you'll ever meet. He's kind of like, he's from Chicago. He's got kind of that Chicago gangster thing going, and he's just the hugest stoner you'll ever meet. And he was like, "Hey, I got this bag of shake. Will you make me some edibles?" And my brother-in-law was like, "Yeah, they're going to be a bunch of dicks though." And he said it as a joke. But the gangster was like, "Bet." And my brother-in-law called his bluff. He made him a bunch of gummy dicks.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, so because it was shake, those weren't too strong. But then my brother-in-law says, "You know what? I'm going to get some good quality weed." And because these dicks are huge, they're like that long. I mean, these are good sized gummy dicks. And he gave me some of them to try out because I treat my body like a chemistry set. I enjoy altering my state of mind and seeing what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I got to tell you, I ate 4 of these dicks one time, and I felt like, so I would move like this, and my aura would still be over here.
Yeah.
And it would rubber band back into me a few seconds later. And it was so fucking cool. And me and him I'd eat a few dicks, and we'd play League of Legends and have a great time. And it's good shit. It's so fucking fun.
See, I live in Wisconsin where it's illegal but decriminalized.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I think we're on the on the very cusp of it being legalized here. It's legal in Illinois, which is about 15 miles south of me.
Yeah.
And everybody that I know that does that kind of stuff, I don't, of course, just goes down to Illinois, buys it, and then brings it back up.
Right.
You know, it's like,
right. A personal tidbit about me. I'm a raver, and I used to be bigger. I kind of laid back, especially because of COVID now. But
Yeah.
I used to be pretty active in the rave scene. So obviously I know if you name a drug, I probably know someone who does it. And I'm 200 miles north of Portland, Oregon. And if you follow politics at all, you know they legalized literally everything because they're fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And so it's had kind of a big impact on the atmosphere up here north too. And it's because it's like, oh man, I could go for a bunch of meth. Guess I better drive down to Oregon. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can find plenty of meth up here. It's just a little easier to get down there.
See, I don't mind weed, but when you start talking about meth and stuff that, it's like, yeah, no.
There's a few things I will absolutely never do, knowingly, because you never know what someone's going to slip in your drink or anything. But knowingly, I will never do meth. I will never do heroin. I will. Well, so far those are the 2 that I'm aware of. Oh, bath salts, never. I will never do that. Crocodile, I'll never do that.
Oh, have you seen those videos where people have done that bath salts and then all of a sudden they just go into a rage and they're like, ripping their, ripping their face off or banging their head into, car windows and shit. I mean, it's like, yeah, that sounds like fun,
dude. I'll tell you this. So I'm not the most sane man you've ever met by any stretch of the imagination. And one time I did a fairly sizable dose of something.
Okay.
And my head went through my car window.
Oh,
yeah. I was sitting in my car thinking, and I couldn't remember something. And I'm tapping my head against the glass, trying to remember. And I didn't realize I was progressively getting harder and harder. And eventually I get really frustrated and my head goes through my window.
Okay.
No blood. I fucked my neck up. I had to go to a chiropractor for a few months. Dr. Yardley up in Des Moines, Washington. Absolutely great. He's a cervical spine specialist. And my neck went from sounding like gravel to being better than it was before the accident. Before I fucking did something retarded. And so if you have neck problems, Dr. Yardley, Des Moines, Washington, absolutely fantastic.
So what else is on your mind?
Oh God, sorry.
Oh my God, that was a really tough question. Sorry about that, dude. Get some water. Holy crap.
I went to swallow my spit and it started going down my esophagus.
Oh,
I hate that. Mechanical malfunctions. God was supposed to patch those out in the last human patch, but I guess it's just one of those bugs it's like a
Yep.
legacy bug. It's just going to stick around. I mean, what else is that? I mean, ask me a question about my book. I like answering questions. What do you want to know?
What's the biggest plot twist in the book?
I can't tell you that.
You ask me any question. You know, the one question no author will ever answer.
Okay, so I'll allude. Okay, go ahead, really quick.
No, I just,
Okay, so here's.
You said any question. I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Well, that's an unfair. You cornered me with that.
I am not fair at all.
So I'll tell you.
You don't have to answer it. I'm just fucking.
But I'm gonna allude.
Okay.
So if you grab my book, there's actually a chapter in my book that isn't in the table of contents. And that's where the plot twist is. And there's a reason that chapter isn't in the table of contents. And it fits thematically with the reason it's not in the table of contents is because it fits thematically with the plot twist that happens. It's about the nature of this empire that I build in here, and the why they're on this planet, why history only goes back 600 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's some conspiracy type shit going on in these pages, and it all happens in that lost chapter. So pick up my book and see if you can figure out which chapter is not in the table of contents. I dare you.
Dare me? All right, fine. I'm buying the damn thing.
Good.
Done. I just bought it with one click. Holy
yes,
crap.
sir. Thank you for your.
Right. You're welcome.
I hope you enjoy it. If you want to have me back on after you read it, I will gladly come back.
Okay. You are probably in the 50s as far as the amount of books I have to read ahead of you.
Hey, that's fine. If you email me 2 years from now, be like, hey, so I finally read Garden of Lies. Can I have you back? We got to talk about this. I'll be like, yeah, bet. I'll be like, yeah, bet. That's perfect timing for the release of book 3. Go all the way back where it began.
I read a little faster than that, but yeah, it might be a little bit before I get to there. I have had an incredible 4 weeks of work. I've had to cancel a bunch of podcasts and stuff because of ransomware attacks.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So, I get these. I've got these clients that got hit with them, and it's just
you do cybersecurity. I take it.
I actually just do network administration and stuff like that. But there isn't much you can do about it except for restore backups and get things back up and running.
Right.
Somebody clicks on the wrong damn email and you're just fucked. You know. Once they get in, they bypass antivirus, they bypass pretty much everything, and they just,
Yep, they take over.
These are just little companies. They're not like the pipeline or anything, but, it's just been.
It's still debilitating. Yeah, I mean.
It's debilitating, and it costs them an awful lot of money to get somebody to come in and rebuild everything for them real quick.
Yep.
And they don't get everything back.
You never do. You see a lot of ads these days for like cloud backups and stuff like that, and that's because these fucking hackers, man. Yeah, they're
well, even cloud backups, because these guys are in your system months before.
Right. So yeah,
they will mess things up.
That makes sense.
One way or another.
That makes sense.
They're not stupid.
Oh yeah, you can't do that kind of stuff and be stupid. That it's one of those things you kind of need at least a little bit of gray matter to do it, period.
The interesting thing about them is that they're very businesslike.
Yeah.
I mean, they're, they have a reputation to uphold. So if you do pay them, they're going to, give you the tools that you need to decrypt and, so on and so forth. And they don't like things not to work out for you if you do pay, because they want to make sure that the next guy pays. And if the next guy hears that you totally screwed him over the last time, well, then they're less apt to pay.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be a pretty big business, but it's been very interesting to deal with it on this side when I've had to.
That makes sense.
You know, there's one company that's just like, let's just restore backups and screw it. It's like, okay, done.
Yeah, I pray to God no one ever, and I use a VPN, so I'm a little bit protected, but I pray to God no one ever hacks my shit.
Little bit, just a little bit.
Little bit, just a little bit. I mean, for a guy who's poor as shit like I am, who's just, you know, trying to get the ball rolling on being a social media presence and everything, that's about the most I feel like I can do right now, especially with my limited knowledge of the IT world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you have a whole bunch of knowledge, there's one, I don't know how I could have stopped it, even if I was standing right there. You know, it was once we found out the entry point, it's like, how the hell did they figure that out? You know, and it ended up being they traced it back after that, because that was my question, is how the hell they figure that out. And it ended up that somebody clicked on an email, and it wasn't naked girls or anything like that. It was something that looked completely legitimate, you know. And so they fished them, and they got them good, and then they're in.
Yep.
And then
I've definitely had a few passwords compromised because of a phishing email or two,
Yeah.
or also commonly like I've signed up for a few sites that I thought were legit sites that I had, you know, the advertised, the front page looked good and everything. I was like, oh yeah, this might be an interesting place to check out. And so I signed up for a free account, and nope, it's entirely a phishing front.
Yep.
Yep.
Give me a credit card number. Give me something. Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm not that stupid. I've never put a credit card into one of those things. Anytime they ask for a credit card, I'm like, well, that's fuck you. It's a free account. Why do I need to give you my credit card? Eat a dick.
Mhm.
But the other thing is just like that's an immediate red flag to me for multiple reasons. You know,
I don't judge, man. It's okay. You can admit it.
admit, what are you implying, sir?
I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying lots of people lie about that stuff, but that's all right. Don't worry about it.
Man, listen.
So, what about your YouTube channel? How long have you been doing that?
Yeah, the no hard segue. Okay, all right. If that's how we're gonna play this,
We can play it any way you want. I'm game for anything.
Listen here, sir. How dare you besmirch my personal image? No, so
That's what I'm here for. I'm all about besmirching.
Besmirch, sir. Pronounce it correctly, you heathen.
I am a heathen. Perfect.
Hey, same. I'm about the most cultured swine you will ever meet.
Not so much, but yeah.
No, well, see, I've been exposed to quite a bit of culture, and I know my manners. I just pretty much refuse to engage them because that's just who I am. But so, how long have I been doing YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh man, I started. So I'm not gonna. Full disclosure, I did start it with marketing my book eventually in mind.
Mhm.
But don't think I'm just a shill. I do have content of value that is definitely up there. Especially, I think people would agree my reviews are of value to the book community. People really seem to dig my reviews, especially of Jenna Moressi's work. And I've definitely ruffled some feathers with my review of Meg Latour's work. So I had some very strong opinions about the Cyborg Tinker, and some people were like, no, fuck you. And I was like, no, fuck you. But I started it mid to late 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been uploading more or less weekly ever since. Sometimes I do more than one video in a week. This building up to my release date for my novel, which was May 17th, I did a video once a day for 5 days. So that, and then Monday I actually got 2 videos. I got Music Monday because I like breaking down songs and analyzing them from a writing standpoint, which is something, there's like none of that on YouTube, and that's a shame because there's so much great material to do that with. You see that a little bit for rap, surprisingly enough. There's people who have entire channels dedicated to breaking down rap and hip hop, but none for like rock or pop or R&B or like anything but rap. And it's like, why doesn't
Well, you can't do it with country because everybody just cry.
But anyways,
I heard something really cool the other day. I think it was on, I can't remember where I read it, but they said, with these self-driving cars coming out, what's country music going to look like when they have self-driving trucks with automated dogs? It's not going to be the wife that takes off. It's just going to be the damn truck and the dog taking off.
my truck left me. That's why I do nothing but sit here and drink beer. Oh, yeah, my truck left me on a cold Sunday night. And so
Yeah.
I'm drinking beer till I pass out all right.
Yep. Ran off with a Volkswagen or something like that,
My truck ran off with a shitty diesel Volkswagen.
Yep. Anyway, we digress.
But I digest.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's better than the opposite.
That's why you drink gallons and gallons of kombucha.
And I eat yogurt too. Those natural probiotics. The pharmaceutical, the pill form probiotics are actually not that good of an idea. There's actually some science that says they might be worse for you than they are good for you. But the natural ones that show up naturally in the food that you're eating because it's fermented food, those are pretty much universally agreed upon to be a good thing. So if you want more probiotics, people, and this is coming from someone who's a certified personal trainer and a certified decompression chamber operator, I know a good deal about the human body. I'm not bullshitting you. Don't take probiotic pills. Get yourself some kombucha, eat some fucking yogurt. Stop wasting your money on pills.
Well, anytime that you think that you can buy a bottle of pills for $25 and it's going to solve all your problems.
Yep.
There's somebody making some really good money for some, and that's never made any sense to me.
Yeah.
When you talk about that gut bacteria, okay, so you're going to take this pill that's been sitting there for how many months on the shelf? How good is it?
Right.
How active could it be? What else did you put in there? What's the binding agent that holds that together in tablet form?
Right.
And all this other stuff. And how good can that be for you? Not that I look like it, but natural foods are the way to go.
Agreed.
Always.
Agreed. And so earlier in the show, if the camera was recording, I don't know, you might have seen me take these. And so you might be saying, well, he's a hypocrite. No, this is a mushroom supplement. This is a gelatin cap, and this is herbs and mushrooms ground into a fine powder. And so literally everything in here is something that you could eat in nature. We've been eating animal goo since time immemorial, and you could find everything else here growing out of the dirt. And this is specifically for my joints because I lift a lot. And so I put a lot of wear and tear on my joints, and this is to help with inflammation and joint pain. And then another good one is fish oil. That's almost universally a good supplement. That's an omega-3, omega-369 complex right there. And then here's one more mushroom supplement for my brain bucket. Because I treat my body like a chemistry set, I've put some wear and tear on this too. So I figured I'd get something to try to start cleaning the goo out of my skull.
Yep. No, I get that. I'm not against all supplements. I'm against the ones that don't make any sense. I don't
Exactly.
I don't have any problem with somebody taking vitamin D or fish oil.
Right.
Again, get out in the sun and do some other things and you can probably be just fine. But especially with the COVID stuff, it's not bad to supplement that a little bit,
Vitamin D, especially because so many people are staying locked up. Newsflash for you people, if it's the worst thing you can do, get out and get yourself some sun. If you're allergic to the sun, get yourself a vitamin D supplement.
Right.
Very important.
But there's some other things that I take too, but it's usually just because I'm an old man.
Yeah. And see, I didn't think you were trashing all supplements because that would be a stupid take. But what you're saying, like about the probiotics and about these chemistry set supplements where it's just like a bunch of lab formulated minerals and vitamins.
I think for the most part, I think food sucks.
Agreed.
I mean, you really have to be specific about the types of foods you eat. So, you talk
Yes.
about kombucha, you talk about yogurt, and you got greens, you got this and that and the other thing. If you don't have a really strict diet and you're eating lots of, the breads are all processed, the noodles and all that kind of stuff, that's all processed. You're not getting a hell of a lot more than carbs and sugar out of it.
That's true. And see,
So if you're thinking you're getting your minerals and you're getting your oils and you're getting everything else that your body needs to be on, you're wrong. And that's where I think that supplements help because, food quality
agreed. If
has
your
been
diet
so
is trash,
sucky lately.
yeah, if your diet is trash, absolutely supplements can bridge that gap. But then the question immediately becomes, well, why don't you improve your diet? Because it would just be so much. Absorbing your nutrients from food is always better than the supplement, because here's something a lot of people don't know about nutrition, right? There's a lot of stuff in food that binds to the nutrient you're trying to get out of that food that makes your body absorb it better. It increases the bioavailability. That's a term a lot of people know nothing about, but bioavailability of nutrients is a huge thing. So let's
Right.
say you take a Centrum tablet, okay? And you think it's got this much of this and blah, 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 and all the things you need for that day, well, or even a week. Well, here's the thing, that's very non-bioavailable in that form. So you might take that and literally half that Centrum ends up in your poop.
Right.
Okay. So it's better to get all of your nutrition from your food, especially cooked. I've never understood raw veganism because plants have a lot of anti-nutrients that get destroyed when we cook them. So cook your veggies a little bit, okay? Eat them, eat some fish, eat some beef. Low-fat beef is very good for you, despite what the people out there in the world want you to believe. There's nothing wrong with eating some red meat every now and then, especially if you balance it out with fish or veggies.
Actually, I don't think fats are all that bad for you.
They're
to be
not.
honest with you.
Period. They're not.
Well, now you have to qualify that because we have manufactured fats and we have natural fats.
Okay, here. So, yes, thank you. Yeah, you're right. So we do have to qualify it. Fats. There's two types of fats: hydrogenated trans fats, and things that are in the trans fat family. And most of those are chemistry set fats that don't naturally show up in your food if you eat from natural sources. You're right; those are almost universally bad for you. They're going to stop your veins up right quick. But fat from chicken, fat from fish, especially fat from fish, that's like the healthiest fat you can get. And fat from beef at low, especially like good lean cuts of beef, especially organic cuts of beef. These are good quality, healthy fats that your brain, by the way, needs to function properly. That's
Right.
why a lot of the time when you see people who have an ultra low fat diet, you can notice some cognitive abnormalities. They have these little things like sometimes their eye twitches, or sometimes they'll have a really hard time remembering something that they should know right off the bat, like their home address. Okay. These are signs that their brain isn't getting enough healthy fat, because your
Right.
brain has to have healthy fats to function.
Very true. Very
Again,
true.
health is kind of my shit. What with me,
Yeah.
it's and I'm not I'm not a Greek god or anything, but I'm in good shape. I lift quite a bit, and I'm physically fit, and it's tremendously important to me. I think it's a lost art too. The art of keeping yourself and others around you healthy is one of those things that no one knows enough about, and it's really a lost art form in a lot of ways.
I agree. So we're running up on an hour here, believe it or not.
It does look that way, don't it?
It does. It does. Have any last things for your readers or fans?
So yeah, you know what? Let me stand up here and move away from the camera really quick and just so I did a pre-order giveaway, and because I'm not big yet, I didn't get as much engagement as I would have liked. So I have some merch left over. And so what I've decided to do is I've decided to hold an ongoing fan art competition, okay? So if you buy my book and you are inspired to create fan art of any aspect of my book, and you contact me through the social media, and this is, by the way, your channel is the first announcements of this. Feel honored.
All right.
So I will send you these maps, and they will be signed. And if your art is really good, I'll even send you a signed copy of the book.
Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to share some art of mine for you.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is just a little something I drew up for my book. It's pretty awesome. We're going to be putting that out for auction here at A-Time.
You're a smart ass. I'm going to one up you. I'm going to one up you right now. Okay. This is hand drawn by me.
It's still much better than mine.
Yes, it is. There's actually some artistic, there's actually some level of artistic effort put into that. And anyways, the reason I bring that up, that is hand drawn by me, 100% original. And that's on the back of my book. And that is actually what that is a visual representation of the main character's mind.
Oh, cool.
That is what the inside of his psyche looks like if you put, and obviously it would be 3D. It's supposed to be a sphere, but I can't draw 3D. I'm nowhere near that good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know my daughter can draw just amazing things. She's a art student in college, and me, I can't. That's stick people are about as far as I can go. So, but
share my book with her. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, fan art. I've got one piece of fan art which will be in the next video on my channel, and it's not half bad. It's actually of the main character's one of his good friends, and it's kind of super sentimental to me because that person is no longer in my life.
Yeah,
so it's really nice to have that.
Cool. Well, you know what, Zach? It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And I can see you coming on many more times. In fact, I kind of think that I should get you together with a couple of my friends, and maybe we should do a drinking thing sometime.
Oh, dude, I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
But with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for your time again. This is Jeff with the DIY Writer Podcast telling you have a great day, keep your chin up, and look at how much better things are this year than last year. Anyway. Have a good day.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Please hit the subscribe button. I get a bonus for every subscriber, and I only need 1,506 more to become a full-time paid employee. Help me, please.